how they mistreat women. We look at racism, women, how they treat people with disabilities, how poor people. It's not good, right? They don't have that whole love and caring thing. It only comes out when the situation forces them. And
here a very controversial question, like by American standards.
Yes.
I'm going to give you a chance to read the comments, but there was a question here that came from Alfred Eyenga, and I think I'm losing that comment.
It says,
the one about LGBTQ.
I was going to read and get to that.
Okay. Yeah. So real quick.
Yeah.
So because this was he was asking me. He said, why can't Africans initiate polygamy in Western countries the way they are pushing LGBTQ in African countries? I know this is very controversial and maybe needs a show.
No, it does
on its own.
On its own.
And I think that's something. But here's the interesting thing: in Utah, where polygamy is illegal, I think in most states in the U.S., but the Mormons, they don't care.
Yeah.
They don't care.
Yeah.
They do it. They never request for a certificate from the governments. Muslims in Philadelphia.
They're called sister wives.
Muslims in Philadelphia.
In Utah, sister wives.
Yeah, in Philadelphia, about 1 in 2 black people are Muslims.
Okay.
The black Americans, they have second and third wives. In this
Can we
America.
stay?
Yeah. But anyway, yeah.
We are not promoting polygamy in any way. We're just
No, we're not.
telling
We're
about
just telling
the
you.
African culture,
The
how it
story.
was, and we are
Yes.
trying to explain. These people were not stupid. There was always a reason.
Yeah.
One of the things that always comes out after colonialism, because it's when the missionaries came in, they say, oh, okay, this is wrong, this is not right, this is barbaric, you can't do this. It's the white people who came and told us, you can't do this, you can't do ABCD. A lot of it makes sense right now, but the thing is, we have to be able to explain to the world why these things were happening. They were not stupid.
Yeah.
They were doing these things
They are
for a
not
reason.
wrong.
It might not apply to our generation right now,
Yeah.
but in their context then, it made so much sense.
They tell you not to worship that tree, but they give you a sanam. Sorry, carry on. An idol.
Oh, the question on LGBTQ. By the way, I'm a supporter. I'm all for love comes in every colors. But this is the thing. I saw a very interesting thing that Saudi Arabia, the Asian countries, they do not accept LGBTQ.
Yeah.
However, the US
doesn't touch them.
Doesn't ask anything. However,
But Uganda is a problem.
Uganda says something
Yes.
about it, and all of a sudden it's sanctions and everything.
Yeah.
You're getting aid.
Hypocrisy.
They're getting aid.
Huyu
Saudi Arabia is-
Debra hataki visa
is
tena,
giving them-
inaonekana hataki visa tena.
Saudi Arabia inapatia oil.
No, there's a
Discuss these
hypocrisy.
things. We have to
There's a
discuss these
hypocrisy.
things. Yeah, like wow, And so when you look at it in the African context, it tells you a lot about all the things we are told to rub. Your God is not a God. Our God is a God. This is wrong. This is right. Stop speaking your language. This is the language to speak. Stop dressing that way. This is how to dress and all that.
By the way, the anti-LGBTQ laws in most African countries, they came from the colonial powers. They were not ours, yes. Or in the penal code, they all came from the colonial
That
powers.
is true. By the way,
Yes,
that is true.
those were not
That is
our
true.
laws.
That is
So
true.
now Uganda is now creating their own law. But
Yeah.
most African countries, the penal code they talk about having carnal knowledge of another person. I don't know exactly what that means. But they come from the colonial powers. Mika.
I think the issue here when it comes to that is that the way that they're trying to enforce it, as Deborah said, like you saw even in the World Cup, like World Cup was about
Ball.
soccer, right?
Yeah.
It's called ball, but you want to go and politicize that World Cup. You want to go and protest in the World Cup. We viewers are not watching the viewers for you to the World Cup to see your protest. We are watching the World Cup to watch the games, right? It's a matter of trying to force ideologies onto other people and assuming that these ideologies that you're practicing are way better than other people. If we start to look at the Western culture, we look at racism, we look at women, how they mistreat women. We look at racism, women, how they treat people with disabilities, how poor people. It's not good, right? They don't have that whole love and caring thing. It only comes out when the situation forces them. And one of the funniest things that I noticed recently, there's a current story in sports whereby the Liverpool captain moved to Al Ettifaq in Saudi, and he got a life-changing contract of £700,000 a week. If you pay me £700,000 a week, I will go to play in Saudi Arabia, even if I'm the biggest champion of the LGBTQ. Because at the end of the day, the LGBTQ are not going to pay my bills. I'm not going to take care of my kids. I will champion for your rights. I will talk about your rights, but I will take care of my family first before I fight your fight. Yeah. And that's the thing where I'm saying is that the activism that people are doing these days and saying that they're within their rights on doing things, they're doing wrong. People like Stop Oil, like, okay, we understand you don't want people to mine oil, but why you ruining stuff? Why are you painting yellow paint on people during games? You know the games follow the lines. You throw yellow paint on the pitch to spoil so the games cannot be played. As in, for me, it gets to a point whereby you look at it and say, who's benefiting from all this activism that people are so-called trying to push? Cultures are there for a reason. And one thing that people need to learn is that when you see a different culture, don't go and impose your culture. Study that culture first, learn it,
understand them,
understand it, see what's good, what's bad, and see what you can pick from them and what you can pick from them. See what you can try to give or what you can give. But the whole imposing by the West, for me, I don't agree with it, because tukienda kwa LGBTQ, mimi yangu inaishia LGBT. Kuna wengine wako kwa hiyo alphabet sisikizani na, especially wale wanaume wanajiona ni wakubwa, ni wanawake kushinda wanawake.
Okay. Now, Ruth, is gonna read a couple of comments, and then after that, we're gonna get into sports. Like there's a big part about sports in this book, and then during the sports segment, we also have a quick update from our young man who's around the building. He's gonna be giving us some updates about the Women's World Cup. So Ruth, let's go to the comments,
okay.
And then we are gonna go to sports after that.
Okay. Liz Steve Royer says, buy the book, guys. It is excellent. Some of us got it from the Grant event in Kenya and gifted it to friends. It is a great story. Buy, and request your local libraries to add it to their collection. Interesting. That's a good thing to do. Yeah. Washeke says, I have placed my order and send my deets via WhatsApp.
Thank you.
Then Lisa say, makes total sense how you set that up. I think this is when you're talking about your dad. In the first part, you cannot tell him like what a great dad he was. Okay. And then she continues to say, it is very easy not to like him much if you only think about the later part of the story.
Yeah.
And then from what I'm getting, our parents, though beloved, are fallible, 100%. Okay. Alfred says, I'm free. Saying send wave mapesa. I don't use send wave after. Okay, I think we talked about that. Yeah. Your dad was the most perfect, imperfect person. Mm-hmm. And then Akinyi is asking, kuna cash up mahali? Then Alfred says the number pinning is Kenyan, so no cash up. Are we trying to get cash up number?
Yeah, I think we're going to give a cash up by the end of this show.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So the guy was going to high school and coming back home to wives.
Yeah.
He was a real dude. Alfred says, Ali, why can't Africans initiate polygamy in the West countries the way they're pushing LGBTQ in African countries? That's been answered. Linda Makeda says, I'm loving this discussion. Alex Kithi says, to what end? I don't know what you're referring to. It would be nice if you can give some context to that. Ali is looking really sold on this idea. Atiso apumzike. The women.
No, I'm just, it's just stuff that I read in the book.
Steven says,
I read, tell that to Deborah.
Steven says,
Deborah ndo ameandika, si mimi nilikuwa nasoma tu nini.
Steven says, interesting topic today and book for that matter. Author is well versed and great content. Asanteni sana the OneMicShow.